Hey. Haven't listened to this one in a little while. Got this kind of laid back but sinister, spacey vibe. Very electro kind of vibe, right? Who was first today? Nomad James, good afternoon. Happy Saturday, Josh Holiday. Greetings, Sean Hodgson. Luminous Cloud, ayo, what's up? You're already like, Black Friday, spend money. Yeah, it's hard to resist if you nerd out about plugins and music gear. This is one of those times of the year, right? But Sean Hodgson wants to save some money. Good on you. What's up, Live Society? Pre-Getting Stuffed week. That's right, pre-Thanksgiving week. What's up, Stereo Decor? Yes, indeed. So, right. Let's get into it. Welcome to an Electro Saturday today here on 343 TV, brought to you by 343 Labs Music Production School in New York City, in Berlin, and online. Yes, you know we do this. This is what we do. This is what I do. I'm here almost every Saturday. I know we had a little break because I had to get ready for an event we had here, and the scheduling, it just didn't work out with me doing the stream that day. So here I am back again to do my thing. And yeah, we were just saying a little bit about Black Monday and all that, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You know, it's like international spend lots of money holiday, right? Like just consumerism run rampant, capitalism, spends money, work, make money, spend money, work, make more money, spend money. So yeah, but you know, we got to have. There's an economy. We live in it. We have to deal with it. And I don't know. I guess if you do need some new stuff, or you've been meaning to upgrade things or whatever, now's a good time to do it, of course. And there's all sorts of releases coming out lately, right? Ableton Live 12 beta. Ableton Live 12 was announced. I got my hands on the beta. I'm going to play with that a little bit today. Figured why not explore it. I've had it a little while, but I didn't really use it much. I've just been so busy working and living and teaching and family responsibilities, but finally got around to starting to look at it this week. And I figured why not load up beta of a new software and play with it live and see what happens. Why not? And in the meantime, you know, we'll make some electro while we're doing it. But yeah, back to the sort of Black Friday thing. 343 Labs has a early access Black Friday deal on all our courses until tomorrow. So you know, it's my job. I got to say it. Got to tell you that this is the lowest prices you'll get at all this year. If you are thinking about doing a course with us, I know you know, not everybody watching this stream is here in New York, right? You're all over the world, so probably you might be thinking about online courses, and so yeah, check that out. 30% off of all of them, like until the end of tomorrow. So go to our website if you want. The links are all down there. Actually, I'm not sure if yeah, you'll find it. You'll find it if you poke around, or if you just Google like 343 Labs Black Friday presale. If you don't see it right up on the front of the page, but you can find it. I'm sure we've done like Instagram posts and ads and all sorts of things. So you'll see it on your social media if you're following us already. All right, I've done my due diligence about that. Let's see what you guys are doing in the chat a little bit. What you talking about? Oh, Nomad James has been using the 12 beta for a month and wasn't allowed to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, same, right? We all had our non-disclosure agreements with Ableton before we were allowed to speak about it, and the embargo was lifted. And then I'm sure some of you noticed that there was just a little flood of Ableton 12 videos coming out. So I figured why not add to that and do Ableton Live 12 today on the stream. Let's see. What else is going on here in the chat? Ilgorhythm, welcome. Oral Float, aka Space Night vibes. I'm down with that. Space Night, y'all know what Space Night was? Starting back in the 90s already on TV in Germany. Late night, be all spaced out, ambient, deep, chill music. I was lucky enough to have some music played on Space Night back in the day. That was always fun. You'd come back from a night out and go to your hotel room and put on Space Night and just sort of drift off. That was a good way to come down after a long night out when I was DJing in Germany, touring in Germany. Let's see what else we got here. Nomad James wants to get his hands on FabFilter Pro Q. I mean, yeah, FabFilter stuff, if you want to like level up on some mixing tools, definitely worth it if it's a really good deal. We were just, we had a Ableton Live user group here with our good friend Kevin. Ambivalent did a little demonstration on mixing techno using just Ableton Live devices. And like, you don't really need to buy all these plugins. Of course, we like to buy all these plugins. And you know, why would you use like a FabFilter Pro Q over a EQ8 in Live? And I think it just has to do with control, right? It doesn't sound better necessarily, right? But having more precision and control and, you know, things like that. Of course, it's also got like dynamic EQing, which is a whole nother story. But yeah, what else is going on here? Who else is coming into the chat today that I haven't mentioned yet? We got Steve Leich. I think he's on Facebook. What's up over there? Watching on Facebook, welcome. Half God, Half Beast. Hey, Tech Electro fans. Yes, definitely. Sean Hodson wants us to explore the generative rhythm tool in Ableton Live 12. And yes, absolutely. That is on the mental list of things to play around with. Very nice. Very good. We're on the same page there. And this is important. This is what we were getting at before. Live Society, need versus want. We need very little. We want a lot. So words to live by, Live Society. Really think about whether you really need it or whether you can do with what you've got. Definitely. All right, I'm with that. So anyway, what I've got... Oh, wait, I forgot to... This is when I was like, what? I meant to do this. We're talking about Ableton Live 12 today. Ta-da! Over the shoulder shot here with the Live 12 beta thing, but I missed my cue. Go away. You don't need to see my serial number. All right. We'll get into this in just a second. Omar Maya. Yes. Oh, snap. Already. Live 12. Steve Leich has a question. Let's address Steve's question before we move on into the Live 12 explorations. You're having a problem with MIDI and whoops, sorry. What's going on with my Windows giving me some problems here. Sorry, I can't read all of your comment here. I've made MIDI and put artery on top. Okay, I'm not sure what you're getting at here. Yeah, that's like that question. I think we'll skip that for now. Maybe we can talk about it another time. That seems like a little bit more going in a different direction than what we want to talk about today. But yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Let's keep moving forward. And where were we? I got sidetracked. So here we are in Live 12. I think, you know, I don't want to do too much of an overview of all the new features of Live 12 because there's already a bunch of videos out there like going over like a list of everything and going in deep on certain things or whatever. I just wanted to start making a sketch, and I did, using some of the new devices and the new features. And I think, you know, one of the main things is this new meld synthesizer, which, you know, looks pretty cool. It already has, you know, just going through some of the presets, you know, it has a sound. It kind of has a sound, and I think that's, you know, just, that's good, right? It's not too generic. You want to have synths that have character, you know, otherwise why use any different synths, right? And then it's kind of interesting because it's like on the one hand, it could be really easy to make interesting sounds just using these oscillators. There's all these different types of oscillators and that have a couple of macros. It's funny, they're calling them engines like Arturia Pigments has engines. And it's, there's like wavetable stuff and there's other types of oscillators in here. And there's a lot of different variation. And then depending on which oscillator you choose, the motion and spacing macros will do different things. And then another thing that's really interesting, and I'm taking advantage of this already on this sound, this big spacey. Oh, I love that. All right, I'm playing one note at a time. All of that is happening. All of those big chords are happening inside of the oscillator. So, another one of the big new features of Live 12 is it's got kind of global scales. So these oscillators, when you look at meld, if you see a flat and a sharp next to the name of the oscillator, that means that it will follow, when you do tunings of the internal voices inside of this oscillator, it will follow the global scale that you've chosen, right? So there's a lot of new, a lot of the devices have been updated to follow along with the global scale, or not. You don't have to. You can choose to turn that off. Actually, like right here, you'll see a little button. This button is turning on or off whether this instrument follows the scale, and it's still a nice. Well, actually, is it still? Yeah. See, the scale awareness here is off now because and it's still kind of making a nice harmony. Let's turn B off for a second. Got octaves, fifths, fourths, and etc. It just adds nice harmonies to this. Ooh. That's so nice. There's like some detuning in there. That's really cool. All right, let's undo that. And put the tuning back on. There, you hear how as soon as I turn the scale awareness back on, it shifted down. And I don't know, I wanted to make like a kind of super spacey, cosmic, anthemic, ethereal, cinematic thing. And I love that I because of the scale I chose, this half whole scale. It's kind of interesting. It's like half steps and whole steps in different combinations, and it's making really nice transitions between the chords. Any of you are music theory nerds out there, maybe you can help us identify what kinds of chords that we're hearing right now. I just go by ear most of the time. I mean, I know some theory, obviously, but I don't let it stop me if I forget what the name of a chord is. All right. So that was sort of the first thing I started playing with. And I haven't written a part for that yet. I mean, I'm starting to kind of make this interesting melody or a progression. And it's really helping me get this kind of super cosmic / cinematic vibe that I kind of want it to be floaty and atmospheric, but it's also really big and strong sounding. Like we've got these big stacked sawtooth waves. There's a swarm saw and a swarm square underneath it doing just more octaves. And that's an octave below. What does that sound like all by itself? It's more simple, right? So B, a shorter release as well. I don't want it to get muddy like that. So it's tighter. And it's filtered a little bit. I wonder if I could warm that up a little bit. Let's check out some of these other filters. 24 dB SVF filter. We've got some, this has to do with the character of the synth. Like it's got a lot of drive and saturation and opportunities to kind of warm it up or crunch it up. I like that. cool. What does it sound like now with the saws on top? It's a little more solid. You guys are talking about all sorts of stuff over there. Are you guys helping out Steve? I hope so. Thanks for taking Steve under your wing. Since I didn't want to get derailed right at the beginning of the stream today and some technical stuff that Steve's experienced. But hopefully you guys will help him get that worked out. Okay. Right, the motion is like detuning those nice harmonies apart and making them wobble around a little bit. Okay, and I was it might be interesting to have this start a little more clean and then get a little, like if I start holding the longer note, having it get a little bit more detuned and swarmy. So the modulation matrix of this thing is pretty redonkulous. It's this huge grid of everything that's available, and yeah, similar to like wavetable and where you can, whatever parameter you click shows up on that list. I think, but it looks like this is showing, might just be showing everything that's available. All right, so the modulation thing isn't going anywhere. I want to have the modulation envelope right here in this column do the macro 1 of oscillator A. This always gets everybody tripped up at first, like when you're getting to learn a new interface and like learning to find out quickly where you want. But if you click on a parameter, it'll highlight on that row. So there's oscillator 1, there's modulation envelope, and I want to have this. Right now you can hear as I hold the note, it starts to get more a little detuned and wobbly. Sean Hodgson saying, I may need some coffee hearing these dreamy chords. Don't worry, the energy level is going to ramp up, I promise. This is just where I'm starting. Whoa, okay, that's a little bit much. All right, let's bring this up so it doesn't get too wobbly and then stop all of a sudden. Speeding up the attack time a little bit. I love it with the oscillator, sub-oscillator underneath that. That's nuts. Ooh, definitely going to do that. I'm going to automate that. I think, should I use an envelope for that? Maybe I'm going to leave that for later. I'm not sure because I haven't written any parts yet. I'm not sure how I want the sound to move musically along with the melody or whatever progression or sequence I come up with. But that's kind of the starting point for the sound. There's also some unison. Well, here it's called stack. You can have 2 to 3 voices and then spread those apart. I mean, let's hear what it sounds like with the stack off. It's more straight and organ-like now, right? I definitely want the voices detuning and making it more rich. More orchestral. Can we modulate the spread? Of course we can, right? Yeah. No, wait a minute. Ableton Live feature request. Let us automate the spread amount or modulate the spread amount. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's this? It says spread up here. Is it already modulating? Hold on. I'm not sure what's going on there. Target is detuned. Oh, I see what it is. I get it now. All right, so spread is a modulator. Interesting. So this is increasing. This is modulating the voices and detuning them apart. I would still like to be able to modulate the modulator. Second order modulation, please, Ableton Live. All right, so that sounds huge. Let's put it in space. We're already sounding like we're in outer space, but let's put some more space on it with a reverb. All right, I mean, I may come back to this a little bit. A little wider, mono to lows with the bass mono switch. And it has this whole, like, even though like the filters are pretty open, I mean, okay, what does this sound like if I bring the, dude, I've got an M1 Max silicon chip in here. And this synth just blew out my CPU with one sound. What's up with that? Ableton. All right, it's a lot of voices. I understand that, right? We have complex oscillators. Each of these oscillators is making many, many, many notes. So it sounds like that's CPU heavy to use these swarm oscillators and add in all and then also, multiply those by 2 or 3. I mean, no wonder that this isn't giving you like 6, 8, 10, 12 voices, because I'm already using a crap load of voices or calculations to create all those different frequencies in the oscillator. This has got to be a CPU intensive synth. All right, nuts. Okay, so maybe we'll back off the amount. Let's bring that back down. Anyway, the point was that even with the filters all the way up and sharp, it still doesn't sound super, super bright. And that's what I'm hearing in this synth about the character, is that it doesn't sound like crystal clean digital sharp. I mean, maybe it's these particular oscillators I'm using. Maybe these have a little bit more of an analog darker tone, but or maybe it's just that I put the reverb on it. I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't have to, my CPU shouldn't be overloading on one sound. Interesting. All right. Maybe that's something to talk about in the live beta group. Cool. Okay. Let's see. So that's my first sound. That's the first time I made a sound with Meld from scratch. I didn't load up a preset. I just picked a couple of oscillators and started playing around with it. And, really what made this sound happen was the scale awareness. So that was what I was kind of inspired by. Like, oh, that sounds great. Just once I hit upon this half whole scale and I started increasing the spacing on these swarm oscillators and getting these really nice balanced harmonies with this cool kind of spacey flavor, I was like, yeah, okay, this is going to work. So the next step I have here was playing around with some drums. Just to be quick, I didn't build up my own drum kit today. I found a kit that I liked. So these are, this is a sample-based drum rack with a bunch of samples of analog generated sounds. And for electro, that's totally like on point, right? This is a very good analog drum machine drum kit to play around with. And so this is what I came up with. And this was generated, this was done using this rhythm generator here. So there's all, in the MIDI clips, there's all these different MIDI processing and generating functions that we can do now. So now, honestly, like what I did, probably I would have just done it as fast or as easily with just drawing the notes in the way I usually do. But let's go through this. Let's see how this works. I mean, let's hear the beat. Just this is what I came up with. I said like the energy level would pick up. And it's funny, like I normally wouldn't put a kick drum on a downbeat when I'm making an electro beat, but the generator created this beat, and I'm like, oh, all right, let's go with that. So, and then this is actually, that's the hi-hat that was generated by the rhythm generator. And then from there on in, I started, this came together in like a few seconds. It was really fast. And then from there, it was just taking that and doing what I usually do, creating variations, and then starting to look at some of the other new MIDI processing that this can happen. So like I made these little ratchets on the hi-hat using the stretch tool. Right, so doing something like this, like taking 3 of these, and you could always do this before with those handles, this time selection, but now they have a stretch control, right? And you can have a certain number of notes fit into the space of, well, it's, it's kind of multiplying or dividing the timing of that, right? And you can also do decimal points in between. Right, so it's easy, really easy to do these little rolls and things, these little ratchets. Anyway, I like what's going on with this beat. I also like what's going on with this kit. I can't remember if this is a kit that was available in 11 or not, but I've never used it before, but it sounds really good. I mean, I don't love the filter envelope, but having the time control to have all the drum envelope times change altogether, that's a cool trick to do. Being able to transpose all, I mean, this is a well-designed rack. This isn't specifically something that Live 12 can do. I just thought I'd point out that this is a nice rack, a nice drum rack. All right, so let's take a look at how I got there. Let's make a new beat now. Maybe we'll even like add another drum kit or some other types of sounds. Yeah, we'll find another drum kit and go through how this rhythm generator works again. So let's see. Another thing that I'm coming to terms with that's new in Live 12 is the new updated browser with metadata, with tagging. So, all of the stuff that's in the Live library already has, been tagged by Ableton, and it's really fast to find things. Although there is one thing that I've been noticing. Look at that. See those little dots? It's taken a minute. I'm having to wait longer to see what's in my library. And I don't know if this is because my hard drive has a bunch of crap on it, or if this is how it's always going to be. We're still in beta phase on this, so maybe they're working on speeding up the access of all this data. There's a lot of data to go through right now, and they're adding more data with all the tags and everything. So I'm a little bit perturbed by how long you have to wait to see for that category to load up in the browser. That's a bit concerning to me, but it's also making me take a breath and slow down. Maybe I don't need to rush. Maybe it's all right. So, all right. So it's showing me everything in my user library, everything in the places, right? But not everything in my library is tagged. Although it's smart enough to recognize a drum rack that wasn't part of its library, right? These are some samples from Mars drum kits that I have. But if once you start hitting on these tags, it's only going to show you stuff that's been tagged. And thankfully, we can go in and click edit and add tags to things. This is going to take forever to go through all your sounds and tag everything. I feel like in the future, there should be maybe this is a good use for AI or algorithmic kind of machine learning, and having tags automatically created, because you can also do sound similarity search in Live 12 now. like you can load up a kick drum and then find other kick drums or other sounds that are similar to it by clicking a button. If it can do that, it can identify what sounds like a kick and then give it a tag, right? And then maybe that'll help speed up your workflow. Anyway, that's another feature request that I'm sure other people have thought of besides me. Anyway, let's find a simple drum kit. I don't know. That's the one I chose. CR78. Why not? That's a classic. Let's load that up. And let's see how this works. All right, so we're going to go over here, go to the rhythm generator. And you can see here, you can choose from this little menu. As soon as I choose a drum in the drum rack, it creates a pattern. All right. So wow, that's a really hot kick drum. I don't know if I necessarily want another kick drum in this case. Okay. Now, all right, so there's a kick drum. Let's see what happens when I change the pattern. It's just moving them around. I don't know. I don't think this is random. I think these are pre-programmed, but then they have so much variation because you can change the density more or less in terms of notes, right? If I can go already down to 1, it's only going to give me 1 note. You can choose where the steps are. Okay, there we go. That's the length of the pattern. So if I do a density of 4, how do I get steady kick drum? Or maybe I need to go down to pattern 1 or pattern, I don't know. This is all. It's kind of, I'm not sure what the logic here is. I just want 4 kick drums. Or do I need to do this? Maybe I need to change the step duration. So what if I do quarter note? Okay, there you go. You got to give it some limitations to work within, right? So I don't necessarily want a steady kick drum. Right now I can't even change the pattern. Why is that? Okay. I guess you need to, in order to change the pattern, you need to, there's a relationship between the density and the pattern and how many available steps there are, maybe? And yeah, and that's crazy. Again, I feel like you can't, if you start overthinking this and trying to make it do something really specific, it's going to drive you a little nuts. So, I don't know. Let's put a beat on. And I'm going to think about adding some kind of more percussion to this. So, all right, let's see if we do, we'll choose another one. It looks like it's also creating some velocity variation in there, which is good. And, you know, from before we know that we can randomize velocity. We can do deviation of velocity to create variation. Right, so that'll randomly vary within the range that I set. Or if I want to just mess it up, that's cool too. I can randomize it, then also have a little deviation so it changes a little bit. I'm down with that. What happens if I do another sound, or I want to change the sound? So I just go to another. All right, no gyro. I don't like the gyro. So or you can just use your arrow keys up and down. I feel like these sounds are going to need to be destroyed or messed with somehow. Oh, look at this. Yolimore saying, I see Ableton copying ideas from Bitwig. Good. At least that's how they can remain relevant. I'm sorry, Ableton. No, I get it. Bitwig's doing some amazing stuff too. I like both. I love Ableton Live. I like Bitwig. I haven't used it much, but I like what they're doing. It's doing some cool stuff. I think there's definitely room for both. Not everybody needs what all the Bitwig offers. I wouldn't mind the stability with the plugins. That'd be nice. Okay. I kind of like this bongo version. That's good. What else can we do? So, all right. So I guess it's, I've noticed this was confusing me at first is when I have them selected and then I would go to another sound, it would transpose it. And I'm like, wait, what if I want to add? You think you need to deselect them first and then go to another. There we go. What is this? Ooh. Split percentage. So this is automatically doing ratchets. This is automatically doing those fast subdivisions. So it's like a percentage of a chance that it does that. That's ridiculous. That's good. I was already thinking that way for the other beats. How do these sound together? Is that too many hi-hats? Nope. This is a good groove. I've been so much into faster electro grooves lately. I don't know. It's like, it's not as fast as drum and bass, obviously, but it's definitely, I love the, energy of it and the roll of it. And you can kind of have electro, funk, and futuristic sounds, and it has, you can speed it up, you can slow it down. I like this tempo right now. I'm just feeling it. Nomad James, John out here making footwork. I mean, is it footwork if I start doing this? Like, that's making it spacey, cosmic, more electro, right? Definitely got to get into some bass at some point. Like, I got to get into some evil, dark, robot shit. Or making this sound a little, maybe, because I originally had this darker. There's that. It's like it's so frenetic and driving forward, but then there's that cosmic space going on behind it. I'm into that. I might need to go back and dial in that sound a little bit more, but it's in the ballpark. Okay. So that's just the very beginning of using the rhythm generator. It's really easy to use. It's a little fiddly. It's a little I'm not sure. No, I guess it depends on your comfort level with programming beats. If you just want to experiment and have it as a fast starting point, sure. And definitely it'll come up with things that if you're liable to repeat yourself and kind of make the same types of patterns over and over again, this is a good way to break out of that. And this is just one. This is just one of the MIDI generators. It does more. And I haven't even looked at this one yet. We have this Euclidean sequencer, which will, generate patterns as well in different ways. And then we have the other ones that are made more like Stacks is for chords, and then Seed and Shape, I think, are more for melody and stuff like that. We might have to, time permitting, play around with some of that stuff too. So another, where are we? Let's take a little bit of a break before I dive into any more new stuff here. And let's just check in with you guys. I'll do my little call out that this is 343 TV, brought to you by 343 Labs Music Production School here in New York City and in Berlin and globally online. And I mentioned earlier we're having our sale, right? We're doing our early access Black Friday, 30% off all of our courses until the end of tomorrow. So this is your last chance. If you've been on the fence, this will be the best price you can get for the entire year on, well, yeah, from until maybe the next Black Friday's pre-Black Friday sale in 2024 at least. So, all of our courses, whether it's our year program, and we've talked about that before, we've got students coming in here taking all of our courses, plus stuff that's exclusive only to the year program, like the mentorship, and we have a hybrid recording course and workshops. You'll have access to all of our, workshops that are usually ticketed, paid to the public. You get all of that included, and special workshops just for your program students. We just did a collaboration workshop very recently that I did with a couple of the other instructors that we have here, and that went great. So yeah, if you're ready to really dive in and, spend a lot of time and you want someone to hold you accountable, that's a big part of it. And it's actually my favorite part of it is the mentorship and like going step by step through making sure that you're keeping up with your courses, that you're getting what you need, that you're getting stuff done. By the end of it, you want to have like a few tracks ready for release at least. You might get into the start to make steps towards learning how to perform your music. Like we're doing a lot, so you can find out more info about that on our website, of course. Or if you just wanted to take like my Making Techno 6-session and 2-week more inexpensive course, that's also 30% off. So if you want to hang out with me and make some techno. And we really need to add the Electro course finally. I got to get on that. We got to do Making Electro course too. I have a feeling there might be at least a couple of you out there that would be interested. So we'll do it. I got to make sure that happens. So what are you guys talking about? I haven't been really following the chat that closely. Nomad James is saying, I'd love to do this year program if I could figure out how to stay in New York and Berlin for a year. Well, here's the thing. You can do it all online. And actually, Half God, Half Beast is also asking the same. You can do it, the whole thing online. The year program is available in person in New York, in person in Berlin, and online. And we actually have students that are doing all of that. We have some, students over in Berlin that want to spend some time in the U.S. that are going to come over and do maybe a quarter or part of their courses here, and then or maybe their work schedule or they're traveling to other places in the world and they're going to leave New York or Berlin, but you can continue your courses online. The way we have it's very tricky to schedule everything, but the way we have it set up is you can move between in person and online as needed, and then or even like I said, you could plan part of your coursework in New York and part of it in Berlin if that's something that you can do. So yeah, we can help you figure all of that out if you're real serious about, joining. Sean Hodson is asking about the Making Techno course and if it's making 90s techno. It could be. It's kind of a generalized making, it's the way I think of it, everybody who's come into the course so far is they're all into mostly different styles of techno. Some might be more underground or Detroit or 90s, or others might be more into minimal stuff, or they might be into like banging ravey kind of stuff. And so we have to be flexible. And I try to like give different ideas and examples for different subgenres of techno. So if you come in and you want to learn about making 90s techno, we'll definitely do that. And, to be fully honest, like most of my experience, I started in the 90s. So like I have that down. So that would be a good thing for us to focus on. But yeah, we may also touch on other styles. But a lot of the concepts remain the same. Like you're just making different choices for like what kind of sound am I using, as opposed, you might make the differences are smaller than the similarities, I would say, in terms of the overall big picture of making techno. So yeah, look at that. H. Ali Gultikin is calling out this Memory Boy. I did some Italo disco kind of synth disco stuff in the very end of the 90s. Under a pseudonym, Memory Boy, and I did some of my own music, and then there were a couple of kind of semi-legal, maybe kind of bootleg vinyls that came out that had some edits of some classic Italo discos and tracks and things like that. So I think that's what you're talking about. But yeah, thank you. Glad you like that. Nowadays, I definitely wouldn't do the type of bootleg thing that I did back then. That was sort of, now I'm a little more conscious and aware of like doing things the right way and licensing and making sure people get the money and, all of that. So thank you for that. And all right, let's get back for the last 14, 15 minutes. We can get back into a little more with Live 12 and doing some other ideas. One of the other big new additions that Ableton is wanting to, is throwing out as like a major feature is this Roar device, which looks, I'm all for like crazy distortion effects, right? Roar is a very deep, look at this. Oh my gosh. It's a multi-band configurable. You can actually change the signal routing, but you have up to 3 different types of distortion happening at the same time. And, you can split by frequency. You can do, well, let's see. We have single, right? So that's just one of them. Serial is one going into another. Parallel, you can layer them. Multi-band, you're going to split into low, mid, and high frequencies. And that's something that we'll teach that in our Ableton Live classes. We'll teach people how to make an audio effect rack and do like a high, mid, low crossover and then put different effects or different types of distortion on each high, mid, low. So now Live has a native device that does that, which is great. And it's not just saturation and distortion because it's got a delay in it with feedback and modulation and filter. So this is nutty. This thing is crazy. And listen to this beat that I did, right? And I thought, what's a good way to hear what this Roar thing can do? We'll just go through some of the presets. That's destroyed now, right? There's a dry wet. That's an important thing. Doing parallel compression, parallel saturation, parallel distortion, so you can combine the clean with the dirty. And I don't love how that preset sounds, but then the next thing that I loaded up, this Alien Symphony, was just so perfect. Ooh. I love that. I tweaked it a little bit, but this is what it sounds like straight. It's going to sound pretty much the same. It's just, I changed the modulation a little bit, but this is just beautiful. This is so futuristic electro sounding. And it's all coming from this notch. There's a comb filter in here and this distortion on the high frequencies, and it's being modulated. Let's open it up so you can see what the LFO and the other envelopes. So yeah, 2 LFOs, we got an envelope follower, so it's reacting to the input signal, and then there's a noise, so you can do random modulation. And this is just amazing. It's going to take some time to get deep into everything this thing can do, but just this is just so perfect. There's some comb filtering in general is in terms of sound design and electro. There's so many classic electro sounds and effects and textures that come from delay plus feedback, and that's what this is doing. So we've got it's all in this feedback. There's the overall tone of it's coming from the saturation, but no feedback. I love that so much. If I want a higher pitch, no, it's got to be slower. Now in this case, if I want this, it kind of has a tone. It's got a melody to it, right? And it's making a pitch, right? So I have to think about, is that going to fit with, whoa, it's still going. It won't shut up because of the feedback. Feedback does that. But then how's that going to fit with this? Like they're not in the same key, if there's a key. All right, so what I'm gonna do is let's get that MIDI in there. All right, I'm gonna have to edit this. You might have also noticed that we're able now in Live 12 to have more things in view at the same time. I can see my clips and what's in my clip and the devices all at the same time. I mean, finally, you also can do that in the arrangement view. We can have our arrangement and our mix at the same time. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, right? That's really good that they finally added that. So let's see if I can get this MIDI going. Then I'm going to try to see if I can get the comb filtering, that tone coming from the comb filtering, to be more in key or sounding better with the harmony coming out of the synth. It's going to be a challenge. I think I need to duplicate this whole thing. And I'm like, do I want to, you know, if I just usually want to quantize, I can either do it manually. There's probably some fancy new thing that I can do, but I'm just going to do it the old school way, manually. Trying to figure out where the loop is supposed to be, because I kind of played leading into the start of the phrase. That sounds about right. We'll clear this up by making that the first beat. That makes sense. Now let's see. I mean, again, it sounds all right, but if I wanted to get this feedback more in tune, can I do it? You know, this would be a cool thing for Live to add, for Ableton to add, is scale awareness for the frequency of the feedback. Because when you're comb filtering, when you're doing something like this, you're making an oscillator that creates a pitch. What if, and then delay time directly relates to frequency, right? So, you know, 12 milliseconds, it also equates to a number of cycles per second for like an oscillation, right? So that's what the pitch is. So if they could do the calculation to make the feedback be in tune, and I know they have other things like resonators that do this, but having the feedback of this be scale aware would be bonkers. I think I'm trying to get it to play like the D, I'm playing in the key of D, and I'm trying to get the feedback to go, yeah. It's close. But then it's changing because it's being modulated. Let's destroy this. These CR78 sounds are so clean. Let's put some roar on it. And I'm just going to try presets. I'm not going to try to learn how to use roar in front of you guys. I'm going to spend some time on my own doing that. But let's just see what else. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, that right there, did you see that? I hit the hot swap button and it took like 5-6 seconds for the for the presets to load up again. That should not be happening. That should... More feedback. That also sounds pretty cool. What? That's ridiculous. That's getting into some IDM Aphex Twin madness. And that's just modulating distortion and feedback. All right. It's a little bit much. What happens if I change this to a high pass? Yeah, because there's all this bass in there. That's interesting. I like that better. Good thing it's got a built-in compressor, because that is just nuts. I'm going to put a saturator after. I'm going to clip this, because it is really sharp. Oops, wrong. I was in hot swap mode. Oh, I have to wait, tick-tock. Okay, there it is. We'll do soft sine. Yeah, I'm just trying to smooth out those transients a little bit if I can. They're really, really sharp. It's footwork, but it's like weird alien footwork. How are we doing for time? It's almost 2. Hey, Simple Sam. Hello, goodbye. I know, it's almost time. I haven't stopped yet, though. I'm kind of bouncing in here with this crazy alien stuff. I like it. I don't care. It's presets. I'm keeping it. I changed them. It's fine. I feel like the chords need to be even bigger. Maybe more reverb will help. There's going to have to be a section. We have to come back to this another day. This is fun. I'm really enjoying this. We're going to have to get into some heavier bass stuff. Like, this is just like the chill part. I'm going to need to alternate this with something heavy. Now, I did start thinking that way already earlier. I was going through more presets. Oh, hey, feedback. Thank you. Thank you. That's enough. All right. This extra kick. I mean, there's a bunch of waiting for the presets to load. Oh my God. This extra kick. There's a bunch of cool, like, kind of heavy synthesized kick drums in Meld, which is great. That I was like, I like the sound and the sharpness of that, and it has a cool percussive quality. And I thought that would be a good starting point. That could be also a good bass sound if we tweak it a little bit. And so I loaded that. I'll put it again here on another. All right, that is just. I'm sure people are screaming about that in the in the beta feedback section on their beta site. So now you can't see it. I can do it in here. I'm playing different notes, high or low. So it's not key tracking. And so the first thing I did was like, what's going on with the key tracking? Are the oscillators not key tracking? I go over to the settings. They are key tracking. So there is a change happening, high or low. And what I figured out was it's all the resonance of the filter is creating a sine wave. So that's here. So that's what's creating then this is how 808 real 808s are actually. It's like a noise going into a ringing filter, right? So if I could go in, if I want this pitch to go up and down and play a melody, then I'm going to go and make sure that keyboard tracking or pitch coming in from the MIDI keyboard is controlling the filter frequency. So that's the filter frequency for A. And then I can change that so now I can play pitches up and down, and I could maybe turn this into something more of a bass sound. I mean, it's still a kick, but now I can tune it. Something like that. Something like boom, 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 boom. All right, so I still need to work on the sound. Oh my God. And it's also not exactly in tune. So I might need to tune the filter frequency a little bit. Yeah, it's a little sharp. Something like that. So I love that. It just keeps talking to you when you stop. I'm going to turn the filter off again. This is one of this extra tone oscillator is so cool. Listen to that. So electro. That's one of the most electro oscillator sound sources. Right? I love it. Just zaps for days. I might just throw some of those in there by themselves. Yeah, I had that over already. And I don't even remember. There it is. Because the lower notes have a longer rhythm. So it's like a little ticket. Something like that. You know, whether it happens more often or less often. I like that little touch, and coming from a preset, who cares? I think every other bar is better. Oh, what happened? I'm trying to think, I want a bass that sounds a little bit like, it's like electro sounds, but the rhythm is a bit like UK bass, boom, like triplet, kind of polymetric, really syncopated. And I might need to tone it down a little bit. It's so sharp. Like, what happens if where's the amp envelope on the A? Whoa. That's more like it. It's fuller now. Maybe it's a little less repetitive, a little more sparse. All right. I'm just going to throw that in there and then fix it. And then it's about time to get out of here, but let's just finish the thought. Because I want it to happen in between the chords, not over the chords. So maybe it just needs to be more simple. I want this to be triplets. Nothing I'm doing now is Live 12 specific, obviously. Better. I'm going to crop that. Where's crop? Cropped clip to time selection. Why won't it let me? I just want to crop the clip. Crop the clip. That's all I want to do. Crop the clip. I can't even talk anymore. Someone get me out of here. Crop clip. There we go. I had to make sure this time selection was correct. All right, we're going to duplicate that and then tune it down to fit the lower chords and see. Hopefully that'll work. It might be too low. We'll see. Okay. It's time to go. I see some of you all are jetting out of here already. Let's call it a day. Thanks very much. I'm sorry. I got a little spastic there with my OBS. A little ahead of myself. Thanks for hanging out with me today. This has been fun. I'm getting a little bit excited about this groove here. It's sort of, where my head is at with electro right now. Like, I want it to be fast, but still funky and have a little IDM tweakiness to it, but have a little bit kind of bass line heavy thing. And then I like the big chords, the ominous cosmic chords coming out of and the meld synth that sounded great. Still on the fence about the rhythm generator. It's cool. I need to play around with it more. And there's so much other stuff to look at with Live 12. So yeah, we'll keep doing that. I'm going to keep beta testing this and playing around with it and getting to know all the new stuff. Of course, I'm going to have to end up teaching this sooner or later. So I got to get to know all the new stuff. But thanks everybody. Have a great week and we'll see you next time. Adios.